very, very obvious reasons. Mousesports with it all to prove. Renault Vitality, the uncrowned kings of Europe right now, hot off a win. Both of these teams are. As we're going to get ourselves underway in game number 1. And we're starting off with Vitality, putting on a decent amount of pressure, but we're going to be very interested. And this is something that we've taken a look at the majority of the season, Johnny. The Mousesports rotations and their way of trying to get themselves out of defensive pressure. At times, it's looked very scrappy from them.
Yeah, they sometimes do end up getting in each other's way defensively, but more recently, I think they've really, made it their intention to calm down in defense, not be so desperate to get the ball out of their end immediately. Because you can, of course, if you have goalkeepers like Scrub, Speed, Cucks in your team, you can sit back for a while. You're not going to be in a bad spot as long as your communication is on point. So it's going to be interesting to see just how high up the field Mouz are looking to push today. That's the first real chance of the game. Well saved by Alpha.
Alpha will now be on the ball as he blasts it long. And intent to try and find K-Dot maybe up on the backboard. Both of these teams just almost showing off their clearing muscle right now. Okay, see how far you can go. Okay, I can go even further with my next one, as it seems like Mouz will come out of it on top for the time being. But end to end right now, we are doing almost doing a bleep test across this length of the pitch. Looks it, takes his time, blasts it off the ceiling. Vitality with an opportunity to try and lock down here, as there's actually very little boost on a couple of players. Scrub Killer was that too far in the middle, and Speed will not be able to follow.
Yeah, I'm really, curious as to why Cucks didn't pass the ball to Speed there. We've seen that, link up happening many times in the past since these two teamed up together. Speed downfield, Cucks are firing the ball at him for the redirect. But hey, here comes Speed all by himself. If nobody's going to pass the ball to him, he's just going to go all the way alone. That's 1-0 to Mouz. No pressure on Speed as he sets up this shot.
Yeah, Speed decides that, okay, we've both tried blasting the ball at each other. Here's me going to do just a little dainty touch to myself. That was exactly what he needed to try and put the first goal in. It's going to be Vitality now trying to respond. This is going to probably be one of the fastest games of Rocket League we've seen this season. Both teams very happy to try and let their pace do the talking. That's almost a second touch from K-Dot. Would add Ferry on the far side to try and maybe get the ball over too. Here is Speed, your goal scorer. Lovely pinch. Straight into the corner. Cooks can follow this up. Maybe get a setup as well. Who's around for him? He's taking everybody on. And Scrub Killer straight down into the path of Alpha.
That was a great pass that time by Cucks. I was asking earlier, why has he not done that? And now he has. K-Dop's walking through mind game. He went a bit too far wide, and he's not thought too much about the recovery as well. Mouz having a good time so far, but getting the ball out of their half. They're not getting pinned back at all. They're not double committing at all, which is great signs for them moving forwards.
Alpha with a little bit of time. Goes straight to the air. This is where he's at his strongest, but Mouz doing better than giving too much time up in the air. But try and shut him down as quickly as you possibly can. Scrub, not a great spot for this. He's going to probably need to get some support. Unfortunately, that support is coming from Fairy Peak. Over to Alpha. Crossbar will deny Renault Vitality, but they're inching closer and closer and starting to win the possession war.
They know how accurately they have to shoot the ball past Mouz if they're going to get goals, but that was just a bit too high from Alpha. Still, though, the speed to get into position was impressive. Warning for Mouz, they need to really pay attention to those infield passes.
Rough. Gets it over the top. Be able to give a little bit of breathing room for his team. There's a launching clear from Cooks here. Ceiling as well. Gives Speed an opportunity to lay it off to Cooks. And that is a fantastic save from Alpha. Mouz, though, the offense that they're putting together does look pretty deadly. Both teams not lacking right now for offensive options. As Ferry had an open net to aim for. I think he was almost surprised by it.
It looks like the accuracy is letting down Vitality at the moment. They've had good chances, but Mouz, meanwhile, they're actually hitting the ball on target and they're getting their shots saved. So they're testing the goalkeepers. It looks like Renault Vitality are not. There's another one on by Speed. So far, the goalkeeping has been good for Vitality, except for the one goal that they've conceded. The other end of the field, they're having a battle with the woodwork, and it's not going their way.
K-Dot to try and take on as many players as possibly can. Alpha brought in. 0 boost for him, but when has that ever stopped him? Speed powers the ball. He's got Cooks here again! Off the crossbar! Finally, one of them goes for Vitality in the woodwork with an MVP performance so far this game.
always such a difficult opponent to get the ball past. Vitality only have 20 seconds now in game one. It's been incredibly solid from Mouz. They've looked like the real deal here, but Vitality have come close a few times. Will they get another chance before zero? You bet they will. Very Peak puts it in, and it was again that pass straight out into the middle. Kux, he was trying to get the ball clear, but he ended up just centering it. Very Peak puts it in, and he's not going to miss from that range. It's just careless by Kux to give him that opportunity.
And the issue there for Scrub is that when the ball is played to the corner and you do have ball cam on, at no point does Fairy Peak come into your vision until he's actually just hit the ball over the top of you. So it's almost a blind spot for him in that situation. Not great, as Mouz do drop their lead at the last possible moment. We're going to go to overtime, Johnny. And if this is a good sight as to how the rest of this series is going to go, then trust me, I am looking forward to it.
Mouz really need to try and get this one over and done with as quickly as possible, though. They, of course, need this win more than Vitality do. They need game wins more than Vitality do. They're under pressure now, though, and if Vitality can start hitting the target more often, Mouz might be in trouble. You can already tell Mouz are afraid of their current position. They're all backing off so far. Look at the space that Vitality have to work with. Look out for the ground plays. They're going to try and exploit that.
So far, Vitality doing a better job of trying to control the midfield. Alpha. Get it too much further. It's a good half-body clip from Speed, but you can see each time they play this, unless they can get a second touch from somebody on this team, it can be very difficult to lock Vitality down. Good layoff. Cooks it for Scrub. Three-way passing play. Shot didn't have enough venom on it to really test Vitality. Scrub puts the ball down. That's a good little bump from K-Dop. Just displaces the young Scot. Alpha will just clear long again, and this is the annoyance when you play at this level, is how well these players can hit this ball. You always feel like you're deep enough, but nope. The moment they make contact, you realize, okay, it could probably have just been sat on my backboard. I've been fine from there.
Yeah, this is just getting better and better for Vitality. We saw some nice passing play from Mouz. Scrub didn't put the shot on target when he was given it, but Vitality overall, they have got control of this series. They are just waiting for Mouz to make a mistake, and here comes Alpha with the dribble that we've been looking for. And this is a danger if Mouz are going to sit this far back against players like Alpha, Fairy Peak, even K-Dop with the bounce dribble into full volleys. He's a terrifying player on the ground, they all are. And you can't give them this much space, because they're starting to get more and more chances.
Ball going to be played over to Alpha. Right into the middle though, Fairy Peak for the backboard to finish the game. Doesn't get the triple tap, but might not need it off the post, and Cooks here. Nerves of steel to wait for it to come back across the face of his own car. Fairy Peak back over to K-Dop. Both teams just end to end, trying to find some way to get the goal that is required. Alpha takes his time. Has to try and force Speed into a challenge. It's not typically a place that you want to be. K-Dop will not be able to reach this ball. Almost 3 minutes of overtime played. Still no indication of what it's going to take to separate these two teams. Scrub Killer now has got K-Dop in his sights. Chooses to go for the boost. Got options, he's got time. Speed is not needed because Scrub Killer will rinse the entire defense.
Okay, we wondered if Scrub was going to come out hot in game one. Well, there's your answer. He just picked up that ball in defense, nipped it past the first defender, and he just makes a beeline for the ceiling and places the shot perfectly. That is outrageous, and that is maybe going to sting a little bit for Fairy Peak and K-Dop. There's one player that they don't want to do well on the Mouz lineup, has got to be their former teammate Scrub.
And we've seen just how Scrub can play when he's in this sort of mood, when he's got the mentality of, okay, I am going to rip your defense to shreds, and that's exactly what he did for that goal. It took a little bit of space, a little bit of boost, and he created a whole lot of trouble for Vitality. And there is game number one for Mousesports. But Johnny, you know, if it takes us nearly 8 minutes to try and separate these teams, I very am interested to see how the rest of this series go, because this looks like it's going to be a very close one.
Oh yeah, I mean, we have to remember, although Mouz just got that win, it did look like the series, well, game rather, was moving a bit more and more towards Vitality's control towards the end. So that's not Mouz out of jail yet. They're not completely in control of this one. I think if we pick up where we left off in this overtime, it's going to be Vitality getting more chances to score. And it's those dribbles I really want to see Mouz shutting down faster. They can't give Vitality that space, or they're going to start to get so many opportunities to score. They're bound to take one or two of them.
Absolutely. I think you just hit the nail on the head of that. You need to try and shut down the dribbles. But for me, you know, there's not much in terms of passing plays. Yes, I think they started to slow down a little bit as the game got more tense, as that's going to be an immediate rebuttal from Alpha.
Well, that's a good response. That's a good way to start a game after losing in the previous one. Great speed from Alpha after the kickoff, and it's so typical to see quick kickoff goals after such a long drought. Vitality get to play with a lead now.
Their first lead of the series. Flip the ceiling from Alpha. Such a wild card when it comes to his offense. You know he's going to use about 100 boosts to try and beat you. It's more of a question of how many players is he going to try and take out. Speed. And only lay that off for a half body to K-Dop, who's got Alpha to aim for. Alpha will not be able to be challenged in time, but luckily for Mouz, his first touch just gave too much work for him to do.
Long time left in the game for Mouz. They've been playing so calmly, they've been playing so composed all day, but are they going to be able to keep that up if the goals start flying in? You know, they didn't have much to say about this one. K-Dop, just a brilliant forward run, but this is exactly why you can't give these guys space on the ground. That's just too good from K-Dop. No chance for any goalkeeper worldwide.
And this is something that Vitality have seemingly adapted to from the last game. First time around, they were very much playing the ball and immediately starting to rotate players back. This time around, happy to leave people, use them as a passing option. And it's what's caught them out so far. The 2 goals down, Vitality looking to consolidate this lead. Mousesports just need to calm it down as well. Need to stop the bleeding. Start figuring out how they're going to come back into this game. Cooks here, his first touch will not be too helpful towards that cause. Completely killed the play off.
It looks like Mouz have just entered today's series with the exact game plan that we expected. They're trying to limit their misplays, trying to keep double commits to you know, the absolute minimum as well. But I think they thrive in the chaos a bit more than Vitality do. If they can start to surprise them just ever so slightly, that might be one of the ways that they can take control of this series again, because Vitality are very much in it. Oh, hold on a second though. That's not exactly the best touch in defense, is it?
Absolutely not. And it appears that we temporarily lost an Alpha as well before that shot went in. Still one of the best shots we've seen this weekend, Johnny.
It was
maybe behind maybe behind the triple touch that we got earlier on.
No, it wasn't quite that, but still, that was a very nice rebound. Maybe the instinct kicked in. You know, that's one of the problems of free play in Rocket League, is both goals count as a goal for yourself. So you get into the habit of just putting it into whichever one you're closest to. But yeah, that's an interesting situation for Vitality. We are going to wait and see if Alpha can get his connection sorted. But was it Alpha who put that in? I don't think it was. I think it was Fairy Peak, wasn't it?
No, it was Fairy.
Yeah, it wasn't. Imagine if Alpha just starts aerialing and then he disconnects into own goals as he leaves the lobby. That would be incredible.
It'd be quite the goal to try and score, especially like if I feel like if you press the button and then like tab out or something, I wouldn't want to see someone try and score this goal. Just start boosting, tab out, let it keep boosting you up into the air and have it score without you even tabbed into the game. Somebody get onto that.
Yeah. I've seen people do this where they, you know, in not a ranked game, but if you're just playing online and then you leave, you get replaced by a bot. So if you start an aerial and then you know you're going to hit it, then you leave the lobby, you get like instantly replaced by a bot, and you can get the bot to score a cool aerial goal. And maybe I don't know if that's exactly what Alpha was going for there. I'm pretty sure it wasn't, but that's definitely something that came to mind when I saw this goal. I thought, no way is that Alpha, but no, it was very peaky, put the own goal in. It must have been a bit, you know, impacted by the disconnect. He's probably distracted or something. But hey, you've just got to deal with that as a professional Rocket League player. And we're seeing this quite a lot recently. Everybody's internet connections are failing them. But you just have to get on with it. And the team who can respond more effectively to these like breaks in the action, these resets of momentum, that's the team that's going to come out on top in this kind of position. But still, it's looking good for Mouz on the day. They've, I think, got a good chance of coming out with a good result here. But Vitality leading game 2 still.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do look at the sort of the play styles that we've seen so far. Vitality playing pretty much like Vitality do, utilizing just very weird pace. You got to try and figure out what are they trying to do with this. Can we even win the challenge against them? You look at the players on there, Alpha, Fairy Peak, K-Up, all of them very solid in the 50s. So you've got to try and make sure, even if you do read the play, that you can at least win that. Otherwise, Vitality so quick on the follow-up afterwards, you could just be taking yourself out of the play for absolutely nothing. But for Mouz, and this was an issue that Gibbs has had with them very specifically, it's been those lack of passing plays at times. Now, for you, Johnny, you're looking at this series. Do you want them to stick with sort of a very individual focus and almost play Vitality at their own game? Or would you like to see Mouz opening up the passing lanes?
I don't want to see them change too much, Shogun. I think that overall there's been maybe 1 or 2 passing opportunities that Mouz have missed, but Vitality are not a team that you can abuse by just switching the ball around left and right over and over again. They're going to read it, they're going to intercept it, they're going to see it coming. But there have been, a couple of chances where you maybe thought, okay, Speed was down the line there, why didn't Kux hit the ball at him instead of shooting? Maybe Kux had vision of an interception coming in that we didn't, but apart from a few opportunities that they didn't take to pass the ball, I think they've made pretty good choices in terms of keeping the possession under their own control. So I don't want to see Mouz change too much. Just like I said earlier, the one thing I do want to see from them is just a bit more aggression, a bit more unpredictability when they're not on the ball, so they don't have a comfortable and a composed Vitality coming at them. You want to get them panicking just as much as you can. Obviously, you always want your opponents to be panicking and thinking about what you might be doing in 3v3. Such a fast-paced game, such a small arena for guys like these who move around this quickly. But we're going to get this game 2 back up and running as soon as we can, guys. Do bear with us. We apologize. I think it's just mine and Shogun's luck now that whenever we're put together, we're going to get
it's the return of the podcasters.
I guess this might be the last time that we do this in case it keeps happening. But we're going to try and get the game started as soon as possible. Just as soon as players are ready, really, because they can't obviously play if they are not prepared and ready to, thrive and do their best.
Well, part of the podcast as well as I'm now going to ask us to take a quick look at today's results so far. And Johnny, as we do sort of look at these, there's one result, and I know I was on cast for this one, but I kind of want to get your response to it. Monaco against Barca earlier on today. For anyone that did not see that, firstly, why did you not see that? Go back and watch it as soon as you possibly can, because what a heartbreaking series that was.
Yeah, Monaco just can't put it together in RLCS, it seems. Then this is a team that I expected to finish somewhere in the middle of the pack when I saw the RLCS roster lineup for this year. But they look like they're destined for bottom of the league. They just have the 1 series left, and they haven't got a single series win to their name. But I still actually think that this team could have done better. They could have performed. There were series that were so close, and you don't have to look any further than today to see that. But in a season that's only 9 series long, I say only, it's actually the longest RLCS season we've ever had, but it's still a short season, and you don't get to see rematches. We don't, I think, get to see the best version of Monaco. And if these guys are not players you're familiar with, don't let the 0-8 record fool you. Like if we reran this season and they got 3 or 4 series wins, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, they are good enough for that, in my opinion. It just didn't work out this time around.
Absolutely. We are now going to have a chance to take a look at some of the highlights so far from this series. Yes, we've only had 1 game to take a look at. Johnny, what a game it was. Back and forth, literally at times, as teams were trading the ball between themselves until Speed finally able to turn it around. But is this something that you're expecting to see as this series throughout the entirety of it, or do you expect to see some small adjustments? And what adjustments would you say those would be?
If I want to see adjustments from either one of these 2 teams, Vitality, I think honestly they're just going to keep on playing with their game, because like I said, they lost game 1, but it was starting to swing into their favor. So I think they're just going to keep doing what they're doing, and that's doubled up with the fact that they're already taking the lead in game number 2. As for Mouz, like I said earlier, they just need to try and get up the aggression, because they've got the class, they've got the individual skill, they've got the outplay potential to make things happen against even a world-class defense like Renault Vitality. I mean, game one is such a, the highlights from this game look like they could have been highlights from an entire series. There's just so much happening here. But where we stand, if anybody is just tuning in, is Mouz taking game one in overtime, and then game number two with a quick start, Vitality 2-0 up, and then we had the one goal from Mouz right as Alpha 54 disconnected. So the admins are going to take a look at that situation and see exactly what happened. But you rest assured that when this one is ready to go and the players are available to get going again, we will get it started as soon as we can.
And thankfully for us, Gibbs has given me a scenario update, which is very nice, which is that if Vitality win this one, Mouz would be out of contention for a top 2 spot. It would then just leave Barca, Dignitas, and Vitality themselves, who would at that point also be pulling quite the lead over the top of the rest of the contenders. So Mouz, this is pretty much a must win for them, because that is such a huge prize bracket for them to start moving into.
Yeah, this small like takeaway so far for Mouz that is good is that they did get a game win. So if they could do that again, then they're not going to be plummeting down the game win-loss differential battle, because there's a lot of teams. In fact, before this game, I think we had a 4-way tie for +5 in the game wins minus game losses column of the standings. So Mouz, they need to really just try and take every game one at a time. They're on the road to having a chance to win in this series already, but they absolutely can't afford to get 3-1s here. It's just going to decrease their chances in head-to-heads and tiebreakers if they end up losing if they end up losing all the remaining games in this series.
Absolutely, we are trying our hardest to make sure that all of these games are given the respect they deserve, because they are all so very important. Because of that reason, we are going to be back in just a few minutes after a quick break as we try and sort out the lobby to get these players back in. Welcome back to the Rocket League Championship Series, and me and Johnny have an update for you. And I'm going to try and say this. I think I'm not going to lie to people today, which is actually quite a nice change. I know. And the not lie I'm going to tell you is that the goal is not going to stand. We're going to be getting back into this series at 3:26 left on the clock. The game currently sits at 2-0 for Vitality in a series that Mousesports are currently winning at 1-0. So, Johnny, get ourselves back into this. What are we looking for right now? People are just sort of catching up into the series.
Well, we saw a long gap with no goals in the first game, followed by Mouz, of course, Scrub Killer, taking that in overtime. But immediately afterwards, game 2 starts. We get a goal after the kickoff. So we just had a kickoff here. We're going to look to see if that extra volatile state of the game will lead to something. It looks like it's going to go straight into full boost, full rotation on all players. So no quick start for Mouz, who are going to have to pick themselves up here, because they might have thought they had something at the end of that, or right at the end of that last goal. But it has been taken away from them, and they just have to accept that. Admins have taken a look and decided that Alpha would have made that save if he didn't disconnect. It would have been easy for him. So they have decided, of course, not to give it to him. That's a good shot, actually, by Alpha, who they're going to need to be playing at his best if they're going to continue to win this. He's had a cracking series so far. Vitality's still in full control.
It's going to be K-Dop trying to chase this one down. It's very rare that we do see a 2-goal lead dropped at the RLCS level. The good news, however, for Mouz is that there is plenty of time for them to do exactly that. Pass over to Speed. It's a very awkward touch. A pre-jump save will not be enough as Cooksir follows it straight up.
Well, Mouz will feel like this is what they deserve after having their goal taken away, but of course they still have to get one more, and now we get to see if they can find it with only 2 minutes 21 left. That's going to be a quick 2 minutes and 21 against a team like Vitality. You don't get many chances when you play against them, but hold on a second. Get up on the back wall. Did not make contact. That was a bit more awkward than it initially looked.
I think that was K-Dop's annual whiff. That's the one and only time we're ever going to get to see that out of him. As Scrub Killer does try to play the ball downfield, Fairy Peak is equal to him. Speed decides to go straight for net. Alpha Over to K-Dot. That's the reason why you don't really want to be going for those sort of shots against Vitality, because they can control the ball so easily from there. You've got to put them in a position that they can make a slight mistouch, if just not get complete control over it.
A bit risky there by Scrub, chipping the ball into the middle. That's how they got scored on in game one. Cuck's popping it off the wall. But both teams are actually showing a lot of respect to one another right now. They're giving each other a lot of space to work with. That's a big dunk from K-Dot. It's gone in. And that is against Scrub, who is going to be kicking himself for falling for this one. He ended up going too high on the ball. K-Dot blocked it underneath.
And K-Dot re-establishes the 2-goal lead. Now only a minute and a half left. Can Vitality just hold on for that amount of time against the Mousesports? That their offense seems to be clicking. So is Vitality so far. Speed with the flick. Unfortunately, K-Dot already there. And K-Dot is starting to look more and more like his MVP caliber self. Alpha off the ceiling. Can't quite get the ball past Cooks here, but K-Dot's going to just take as much time as he possibly can. Lofts it over the top. Speed for the reset. Has he got it? It doesn't quite look like it. Only got 2 wheels onto the ball. Require all 4 if you do want to get the flip reset. Only a minute left here, Johnny. Mousesports, all the work to do. Very little time to do it.
They are passing well right now. They've had a good bit of time with the ball alone, and that's only a good save from Barry that keeps them out here. Mouz still coming forward, still on the hunt for that comeback late in the game. They don't have a lot of time left. They have to start putting shots on target. That is more desperate from Speed than anything else, so. And it looks like Vitality are just going to control this one as we get to the very final seconds of the game.
20 seconds. Cooks here. Only as far as K-Dot. Follow up from Speed. He drops it over. 1, 2, 3. Speed will offer a lifeline to Mousesports.
That is fantastic play by Speed and Cucks. You know, we were asking them to maybe look for the pass instead of the shot a bit more often. Well, that was definitely 2 passes that could have easily been shots. But they're going to give this a go in the final 14 seconds. Mouz still have a chance here, and that's a great kickoff to get things going.
Cooks in, over to Speed. They've got a couple of options downfield. There's actually Scrub going down the ball. That's a good challenge as well. Alpha forced to tip the ball over to the corner. K-Dot can't do anything with it. Speed unchallenged, but he couldn't make contact. Renault Vitality gasp their way through game 2.
Yeah, I don't know if Speed had a good angle on that ball as the ball came across to him, but he wasn't able to make contact. There were a couple of goalkeepers to beat, so he probably had to get a very precise touch in order to put it past him, and that's probably what's resulted in the miss there. You can't just hit the ball clean in the middle and fire it on target and hope for the best. You know, when it's 0 seconds, he has to not only keep it off the ground on the way in, but avoid the goalkeepers who are there. It's a very difficult, very accurate shot he's trying to make, and it ends up in him just missing the ball entirely. That was the last chance for Mouz, who are actually, I think, going to be going into game 3 with momentum on their side. It's funny that we had Vitality losing game 1, but looking like they had the majority of the control as the game came to an end. And now the opposite has happened in game 2. Vitality get the win, but it was Mouz who had most of the chances late in the game.
This has been a phenomenal series so far. 1 game each, 4 goals each. As you mentioned, Mousesport looking like the stronger team at the latter stages. But this entire series has now become a series of moments. Every single small misplay, every single outplay becoming a huge factor at creating good opportunities for your team, which, these opportunities have been few and far between, not for a lack of trying, just how good and how solid these defenses have been at getting in front of these chances before they are really dangerous at the back of the net.
Well, I was impressed, especially with Mouz, as we got to the end of that game. They started to play a bit more desperately. They were looking to make more aggressive plays on the ball, because if you don't, you're obviously not going to get a chance to get a 2-goal comeback in the last 30 seconds. But maybe now they can try and do that when they don't need a 2-goal comeback. We've got a fresh restart, but Mouz can still play with that same urgency, and maybe they'll get more opportunities for it and get Vitality scrambling.
Alpha looking to try and follow up. Going to cover the double commit from his teammates. Speed now only 1-on-1 against K-Dot. Having a constant argument with our ceiling at the moment. Scrub Killer forced to turn around after picking up Boost. Just okay, well, I guess I'm the one that's on this. Now pass over to Speed. Then lay that one back off to Cooks here. He's going to have to try and chase that one down. Speed up. Beats Alpha off the backboard as well. It's going to be difficult to try and follow, so Fairy Peak just to give himself a bit of time, but he's being swarmed right now by Mouz players. And the pass is going to be lofted far too high for a follow-up shot, but Mouz right now are unrelenting. Can they find the back of the net? No, Fairy Peak. They're just in time to prevent the shot, and now it's a counter-attack, but nobody around for Kate up to pass to.
Well, Speed was maybe looking for a solo play there, but it ended up falling for Scrub. They're even making team plays by accident now, but getting up a chance at the other end. The mistakes are starting to come through because the pace of the game has increased significantly. Mouz have had the majority of the say in that, and Vitality, you know, with some boost troubles at the back, looked on very shaky legs for a moment, but they didn't concede, and they were still all tied up in game 3.
The wall, Scrub Killer. He's been dangerous from here previously. This time less boost to work with. Speed is quite far forward right now for a third man. He's a K-Dub's got somewhere to work with, but at first touch, far too heavy. He's going to struggle to tip that down for Alpha. Fairy Peak goes for net, and Fairy Peak has squeezed it through.
Fairy Peak has been consistent this game. He's been rescuing Vitality in defense over and over again, and now he comes in, wins a 50 with Scrub. I don't know if that made contact with Scrub's car on the way past, but it may have done, and that would have done nothing but accelerate the ball towards the net. Vitality opened the scoring in game 3. They were able to turn an opening goal into a game win in the last one. Let's see if they can do the same in game number 3. We'll put Mouz on 2 games in a row, or a series loss. That's Fairy Peak to Alpha, and that is going to be 2-0 Vitality.
And Vitality are starting to style on them. Fairy Peak picking back up where he left off on Monday. He had an outstanding performance in the last stages against Dignitas, and he looks to do it yet again. He's been a difference maker so far in this series. He's going to look to try and continue to do that. Alpha goes straight for net. It's going to be dropping down for Cookser to try and control. Fairy Peak picks up boost. Going to have very limited options. Gets the drop down, however, and it only had Scrub Killer in the way to stop K-Dot from turning it in.
Fairy Peak's been outstanding in this game. He's still the one who's dictating the flow of the game at both sides of the field. And for the last minute or so, the ball's been stuck in the Mouz end of the field. They just can't get rid of it. Fairy Peak has been the main reason for that. Now Mouz do get a chance to play an offense. Not a lot of boost for Scrub as he makes a play. Cuxer comes in, his shot is tame. And with 2 minutes remaining in the game, it is still a long way to go for Mouz. That's a good opportunity again. You know, Vitality don't look completely invincible in defense today.
Absolutely not, but it's very difficult because the mistakes that they are making leave the ball quite deep in their side of the field. But how confident do you have to be to say, okay, Vitality are going to make a mistake here. I might as well be that far up. It is a very risky play to typically go for. Here's Fairy Peak again. Lethal in the final third. K-Dub now plays off the backboard. A third goal would spell the end of game number 3 and put Vitality onto match point. Hooks it. Tries to clear his lines. 2 goals still required. K-Dub forces a challenge. Speed might be able to follow this one, but not quite able to do so. Now there's only a minute, and right now, Mousesports struggling to get the ball even out of their own side of the field. Scrub will do exactly that, though. Can't win the challenge with K-Dub, who is now starting to win more and more of these as this series goes on.
Yeah, we're final minute now, and you're looking at Mouz, and you're wondering, are they going to elevate like they did in the last one? Are they going to start to increase the pressure? They're going to up the pace. They haven't had many opportunities to do that this game because Vitality have really taken over boost control at both ends of the field. And they got a couple of late chances in the last game. Let's see if Mouz could do it again. It's infield. Speed's actually going to get a shot with Scrub bumping. It's still saved though by Alpha.
Here is Fairy Peak. Looks to go the whole length of the pitch. Speed will shut it down, but this is not the side of the field that Mouz want to find themselves in. Speed and Scrub, both in their own corner. They needed Cooks here to get that one clean. They simply haven't done so. Just trying desperately to get something going, but they're just flopping around the ball. And Vitality calmly taking control of everything. Almost had themselves a third if that pass connected. but it is going to be too little, too late right now. Mousesports will require a 2-game run if they want to try and keep their top 2 hopes alive, because at the moment, Johnny, Vitality's starting to look solid.
Vitality on the back of Fairy Peak, really taking control of Game 3. But the whole team really got it together at the end there after a pretty shaky beginning to the game, and credit to them, they have been the team who have responded a lot better to that restart overall, or that break in the action, and you can't ever really doubt them. They're just so solid mentally. That was the one thing I was worried about with Mouz today, is even if they do play an outstanding series, even if they do really bring it to Vitality, you know that Vitality have got levels to go to. They've got gears that they can go up to help them come back and retake control of a series like this, and that's what they've done here. Mouz still in it, and they need 2 in a row if they're going to take this one.
Absolutely, and we do look at this series so far. Scrub Killer, he's doing decent work right now, but this is not the way you wanted this result to go. Remember, a loss here from Mouz does knock them out of top 2 potential. A victory for them, however, Johnny, leaves 6 teams currently in the runnings for those top 2 spots. So not only are Mouz hoping they win this, but there's quite a few other teams as well looking at them.
Yeah, it just depends what kind of team you are. Are you a team that enjoys potential, or are you a team that likes to just settle for middle of that pack? Because, like you said, if Mouz can get this win, that really does increase a lot of other teams' chances. But at the same time, they'd have another team to compete with in Mouz. So this is going to be such an interesting one. Game 4 just getting underway now between Mouz and Vitality. Mouz need 2 in a row if they're going to get the win. Scrub Killer, he was the difference maker in Game 1 against his old team. Let's see if he and the boys can do it again.
2 wins in a row. Alpha won 2 challenges in a row. Brooks just tips it right over the top of an oncoming K-Dot. Charging forward. Scrub Killer, that is a very ambitious ceiling challenge.
He wants to attack the ball early for sure, but oh, hold on a second. That's ball on the goal line. I don't think even Vitality expected that one to be lurking on the line for as long as it did. But, against a team like Vitality, especially players like Alpha, you have to attack him early in the air. Your defense behind you will thank you for it, because even if you don't make contact with the ball, at least you've forced him to do something. Same sort of thing can be said for ground plays. Here comes Speed with one of them. He's demoed. And now, chance for Mouz to get a bit more pressure on Vitality. They haven't had much of that in the past game after Vitality started to take control of it. Vitality still the only team with real shooting opportunities in this game. And it's, overall not looking great for Mouz. I think they've got to try and get things a bit more chaotic. Speed things up and maybe get Vitality out of position. Scrub might have even double touched that one by accident, but it did work out for them. But Vitality sitting at the halfway line, they're just waiting for the ball to come to them.
It does often seem like Mouz require the efforts of one person to try and clear every single time. Also utilizing that person to try and get their setup as well. They're going to need some more utilization of everybody on their team as K-Dot is removed from the pitch. Alpha trying to get it to Berry. It's going to be a loose ball for Speed. Trying to find Cooks here. Mouz just trying to outpace right now. This might be their opportunity. Going for the top corner, and Speed finds it.
Great break of rotation by Cux to set this one up. You saw him just nip in front of Vitality, stick the ball sideways. That made it so awkward, not just for Fairy Peak, who was in the middle, but also for Alpha on the goal line. Not an easy one to cover all angles with. Speed, he picked his spot well. He saw the pre-jump, knew exactly where to put the ball.
This series more than any other, Johnny, has been the one where pressure and momentum seems to be just switching more than any other series we've seen so far. Speed will be forced to save. K-Dot is there, but so is Speed, who darts across the goal line.
Mouz having a hang on again. They were able to hold on to that lead that got them the Game 1 win quite a long time before Vitality equalized. Forced them to take it in OT. They'll be trying not to go down that route here. Although Vitality haven't had the best success in many overtimes this season. Alpha 1v1 with Kuksuk. Does well here. Made up shot is top shelf as always. And it's saved well by Speed.
There it's the corner. Speed does clear back to midfield. Everybody is in a good spot right now for Vitality. They've managed to lock Mouz down for a good period of time, but when you see players like K-Dop currently on 0 boost, it does mean it's going to get harder and harder for him to keep it going. And Scrub playing Disruptor. He has done exactly what he set out to do, and that is relieve pressure from the defense. Now maybe a chance to make it two. Speed tries it. Alpha saves. And Scrub staying all the way back. Doesn't want to overcommit with this 1-goal lead. Hooks here. Back into the midfield. Very peak. Just drop it down maybe for a teammate. It's so hard right now to get the amount of space required to really set up a proper play. It's more of a game of just making the most of what you have. And Fairy Peak has got exactly that. He has made the most of that opportunity.
That is such a good passing play by Fairy and Alpha. You're not used to seeing 1-2 plays all the way up to ceiling height and back down to the ground like that. How did Mouz keep up with that one? Eye on the ball probably is the problem, but with Fairy Peak coming in from a totally different angle, it's so hard to see him coming. And they've done it again. Vitality gonna force Mouz to work for the win. They might just get it though. Speed fires wide. He did want to make sure not to hit Fairy Peak with that shot though, so it is understandable that he would put that as far left as possible.
I feel like he was almost clipped on his way in for the shot, and that put his car off position. K-Dop will be now slow playing in his own corner. He hasn't got the time for that though. Scrub Killer out of nowhere to try and play into the midfield. Next goal is crucial. For Mousesports season, they must get it to keep a top 2 spot alive. That they could not do last season. Speed up against Alpha. Alpha goes 50, and it's good enough to get Fairy in, who cannot stop scoring.
Brilliant play by Alpha. Look how alive this ball is. It's all that matters for Alpha in that play is that he makes sure the ball doesn't roll into the corner. He kept it off the wall, and that's a 2-1 lead for Vitality. They're looking to take 3 games in a row here in order to get rid of Mouz and prove to, I think, most people that they are the team to beat in Europe right now.
Going to be yet another game decided by a single goal. Mouz, 20 seconds to try and find the play that will get them back into this game and back into this series. There's a demo from Speed will do exactly that.
What a play by Speed off the ball. He just runs straight into the goal area, takes out the keeper, then makes sure that it's going to go across the line uncontested. And that is brilliant by Mouz again. They know when to turn it up, they know when to force the issue. Speed off the ball makes the play happen.
Alpha looking for the follow. It's a great window from Scrub. Speed went darting forward. He might be able to play this one afterwards. Lovely doink over the top. Alpha forced to play it to his own corner. There's 2 players there. One of them being Scrub Killer, who was going to follow, but it hits the ground.
Great save by Fairy. He actually hit that down into the ground on purpose just to end the game. He knew it was going to be 0 seconds. Now here he comes in overtime. He's 1v1 with Scrub, and Scrub Killer stands in the way.
Now K-Dop offloads it to Alpha! Vitality will take it!
The center ball from K-Dop found Alpha all alone in the middle. And although Scrub Killer kept out Fairy on the previous play, he couldn't keep out Alpha on that one. And it is going to have to be 1 game only for Mouz today. Vitality take 3 in a row. And that's going to be overall a disappointing result for Mouz, who were trying to at least take this into game 5 and see what they could do. And, you know, especially at the end there, Scrub getting a save on Fairy in a 1v1. That's, of course, something that we've seen happen many times in the past. But it didn't continue to go in their favor. Alpha got the winning goal. Brilliant pass by K-Dop. We really saw those infields from Vitality connecting with, first of all, it was Fairy Peak in the middle, now Alpha. So that's a really good connection that they've got, just to whip out whenever they need it.
It now does mean that if your name is not Barca, Vitality, or Dignitas, then you are out of contention for top 2, which will be decided next week on the final week of league play. For everybody else, they are now fighting for a top 6 or a top 4 spot, which, as we know, Johnny, that makes your life so much easier or so much harder going into playoffs. So all to play for heading into next week.
Yeah, huge difference between your 3rd and your 2nd. Huge difference between 5th and 4th. So everybody's just trying to get the best possible game win-loss differential. Unfortunately for Mouz, they are currently sitting back on series score and game win-loss differential behind all the other teams in the top half of the table. So they're going to have to step it up in their final game of the season, or else it's not going to be a good ending for them in what could have been such a promising season. At moments they've looked brilliant, but the consistency has not been there, and we saw that today. Vitality was far too good.
Well, they've got a couple more weeks now to put themselves into the training scrims and get themselves up to a level that maybe can take on an on-fire Vitality squad. We're going to hand ourselves back over, though, to Leaf and the desk.